like all of it. I don't even care if you like all of it or not. I have a job to do.
The Jim Rome Show.
What's your beef?
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The American Red Cross is facing a severe blood shortage. Donors are needed now to make sure patients across the country receive life-saving care. There's no time to wait. Make an appointment today to give blood by using the Blood Donor app, visiting redcrossblood.org, or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS to schedule your donation.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, one last look at your traffic and weather for your ride in on this Tuesday morning. Couple accidents to report, one at Fontaine near Two Notch, another one at I-77 southbound in Killian, one at Rabin and Ross, and finally one at Broad River Road between Bush River and I-20. Today, a little bit warmer, high of 55 with some clouds. Tomorrow, 53 with a mix of rain, and then Thursday, cooler and 43. Currently 28 here in downtown Columbia. That's your traffic and weather on your Tuesday here on The Game. Welcome in, 9 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri along with you here. Snow still on the ground. It's not melted yet. As I gave the weather forecast, we're actually going to get in the 50s today. So hopefully we can finally put all this snow and nasty weather behind us. Opening day is looking a lot better next week, Jack. I will say that. We're getting looking like some decent temperatures next Friday for the opening series.
Let me look at the temperature. I've not checked yet.
It was like mid-60s last time I looked.
Ooh. So
hey, I'll take
next Wednesday is going to be 67.
Yep.
Next Thursday is going to be 68. Oh, my God.
Sorry, I had to.
I'm glad you did. Thursday is going to be 68. I have not seen what Friday looks like yet. I'm looking at my weather app. It's a 10-day forecast, so hopefully – Do you know what the temperature is going to be at?
I think Bill told me yesterday it was somewhere around the same, like mid-60s. Now, again, once the sun goes down, roughly halfway towards the end of the game or whatever, it'll start to drop a little bit. That is a good thing about a 4 o'clock first pitch. You do at least get some sunlight there, but it's not looking like we're going to get snowed out, which is good.
No. I mean, Thursday for softball opening day, the high is going to be 43 and the low is going to be 33. So, point is, I'm going to be bundled up on Thursday, and then next Friday, hopefully I can just wear like a sweater and be okay. So.
Yeah. By the way, we're going to talk with Ashley Chastain-Woodard coming up at the top of 10 o'clock hour as we get a preview of softball, which does start Thursdays to take on Virginia Tech. So excited to see year number 2 under Coach Woodard after all the success they had a season ago. But we got some basketball to talk about, and we'll do that right after our Sandstorm Pick-Me-Up.
Time to get hyped. Here's your 9 a.m. Sandstorm, sponsored by George Sink Injury Lawyers. Just call all nines.
It is time for 9 a.m. Sandstorm Pick Me Up, brought to you by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you've been hurt in the car or at work, call George Sink now at 803 all nines. Last night, women's basketball headed on the road to take on, at the time, a 1-7 Texas A&M squad. And it was a close game, but I never really felt concerned Carolina was going to lose, even when A&M got it down to a 4-point game at one point there in the fourth quarter. Carolina goes on to win 71-56, kind of managed the gap between 8 and 10 points most of the night. But again, I never really felt concerned they were going to slip up and lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this game got kind of close at one point going into the fourth quarter, and then South Carolina was able to pull away eventually. I mean, I'm looking at the box score here. This game looked like it got down as close as maybe like 5 points in the fourth quarter. Then
got down to 4 at one point.
Yeah, I mean, once South Carolina pulled away, that was pretty much it. And I mean, give a lot of credit to Carolina in this one. We're going on the road, winning a tough game, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. I know it's women's basketball, and South Carolina is far and away the best team in this conference, but you look at it like any game on the road in the SEC is going to be tough, regardless of sport, and this was certainly the case. And without Joyce Edwards in this one, the effort that she put out, I mean, who knows if South Carolina wins this game? She was electric in this one. 28 points, 9 of 12 from the field, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. Double-double with 11 rebounds, and, really good night for her.
Yeah, and 14 of those points came in the fourth quarter. Again, Carolina had a rough third quarter there that allowed A&M to close that gap back down again, got it to 4 points early in the fourth. But as we've seen over so many years, you can name a list of players that have kind of filled this role. You have somebody step up late in the game that helps you pull away, which is exactly what Joyce Edwards, was able to do last night, and that was a big difference in how Carolina was able to win this game. Obviously, they were playing without Tanaya Latz, and they were playing without Agot McKeer, so he had to shift around the starting lineup once again. Maddie McDaniel got her first career start. I will say this. I always have the belief that a Dawn Staley team is always capable of going to the Final Four, always capable of winning the national championship. But, and as was reported on last night, they're both dealing with leg injuries, and we don't know exactly when they're going to return. This has been a team that's been banged up a lot this year, and you've also had player suspensions, those kind of things. So my concern level for what this team's going to be capable of boils down to health, because I hope this is kind of the end of players being in and out of the lineup. But if you get into March and having to deal with those kind of things, especially as you get deeper into the tournament, that could really end up being the difference for how far this team goes.
Yeah, I mean, look, they need to get healthy first and foremost. Here's the thing about this team is they're talented enough to overcome the injuries that they have on the roster. Like games like this, they should be able to win without Tanaya Latson out there and others that are all banged up. I will say this, though. They're going to need those players by the time the SEC tournament gets here next month, and then the NCAA tournament shortly after that. But for right now, I think you're okay without those players if they're out or whatever the case might be moving forward. But you're hoping to have them back sooner rather than later, just because competition will definitely pick up once the regular season ends.
Yeah, so again, win last night for women's basketball. They're back in action Thursdays. They're playing host to Mississippi State, which you can listen to on our sister station, B106.7. Looking at the latest bracketology, to no surprise, Carolina is still the 1 seed, along with Texas, UCLA, and UConn looks like they're on a warpath once again. So if you end up facing them in the NCAA tournament, that in and of itself is going to be a challenge, much like it was a season ago. But I think last night was an example of the team fighting through a little bit of adversity and finding a way to win. Again, I never felt like A&M was going to be a serious threat to win the game, but you could see that the zone defense was throwing South Carolina for a loop and really forced them to shoot in threes, which Tessa did a really good job of making a bunch early on in the game. But, of course, as the game wears on, you kind of get a little bit colder from that regard. They had to find ways to make things happen. Again, Joyce Edwards had a big fourth quarter. The defense really locked down. A&M was only 1 of 12 from the field in the fourth quarter there. So good teams find a way to win in the end, which is what Carolina did. And, again, it's all part of molding you and making you the best version of yourself before the games that end up mattering the most start next month.
Yeah, and here's the other thing for South Carolina. This is a good win over a team that has just not been very good this year. The schedule's going to pick up here, really starting, I would say, with this next game coming up, because Mississippi State just went to Knoxville and beat Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, you get Tennessee, LSU, Bama, Ole Miss, Missouri, and then Kentucky to close out the year. A bunch of those games are coming against top 25 teams. So this is going to be a tricky slate to end the year, and it wouldn't shock me if South Carolina maybe lost a game here along the way, whether it's LSU or at Kentucky to end the year. But this team is also very much good enough to beat anybody. I think any given night. It's just a matter of, okay, can they play their best brand of basketball, and what does that look like? If not, can they overcome that?
Yeah. By the way, that game against Tennessee Sunday, that'll be the Super Bowl lead-in once again. That's kind of the game Carolina typically plays, and in years past has been the game against UConn more often than not. But yeah, big game there, and then next Saturday, obviously the road trip to LSU on Valentine's night. That one also going to be a massive one, and again, we'll hopefully see a much healthier team by the time we get to those games.
Yeah, no, hopefully they will get a little bit more healthy here moving forward, because once again, they are going to need those players at some point. It's not a big deal right now, but down the road, it could certainly be the case if not healthy.
Again, back in action on Thursday, taking on Mississippi State, 6:30 tip pregame coverage starting at 6 on our sister station B106.7. Coming up tonight, you got men's basketball on the road taking on Texas at 7 o'clock, which you can listen to right here on 107.5 The Game. And at this point, Jack, are we just hoping they don't get embarrassed? Like, is that what we're rooting for?
Yeah, I would say so. Just go there and don't come back with getting your doors blown off. That's a big thing. And look, Texas is not that much better right now, even with the coaching change they made with Sean Miller taking over. But I would say South Carolina hasn't been great on the road at all this year, and just not played particularly well. They've gotten their doors blown off a few times. You're hoping this is not another game where that's the case, but they really do need to find a way to get a win here, because they're already 11-11 on the year. They have a chance to be under 500 on the season now if the losing continues here.
Well, I think we gave them credit for the other day against LSU for not just getting run over in that game and showing a level of not caring. But when you had what was a gettable game against a team you'd already beaten once, and you lose in the fashion that you lost, now you do question going into a game like Texas on the road in a midweek, like, all right, what's the level of concern? What's the level of care going to be? And we'll see, because, again, now you're in the back half of conference play, and you're sitting at 2-7 right now. You're not really playing for a whole lot. So can you stay engaged? Can you stay locked in for these final 9 games? And again, or does everybody just kind of go through the motions for the next handful of weeks and try to get to the end of the season?
That's the tricky thing to figure out here, because there have been times this year where South Carolina just hasn't given great effort, and it looks like they could care less, and then the next game they come out, play really strong, and come up short in the end. That's pretty much what we just saw with the past 2 games here, with the Florida game, where Coach Parrish talked about how they just gave poor effort, and then in the LSU game they play a lot better. They seem to play like a lot more intense, a lot more effort, and then come up short. But that's the thing. There cannot be this flip-flop effect of, okay, one game we're going to play hard, and then the next game, and we're getting blown up by 20 points out. We're just going to take the rest of the night off. Like, that can't be the case. Like, this team needs to figure out what they're going to be the rest of the year. And, look, they may not be very good, but they've got to figure out, okay, are we going to be the team that plays hard, or are we going to be the team that kind of just kind of skirts to the finish line a little bit and, it doesn't really play well down the stretch. So we'll see. Well,
I wish they gave us reason to be excited, but it is what it is at this point, and we'll react accordingly this time tomorrow on whatever happens tonight out in Austin.
Yeah, not really expecting a ton.
But it should be exciting seeing Texas for the first time as an SEC team, right? Like, this is new. This is fun. Or not first time there.
First time going to Austin.
Yeah, because they came here last year, and you actually won that game. But there should be excitement of going to a new place, and it's just not.
No. There's quite frankly nothing to really be excited about with this team. They're just not. And it stinks, because it's like, again, 2 years ago, this was a completely different vibe. Everyone was locked in. The team was fun to watch, and ever since then, it's just been massive disappointment.
We'll see what happens coming up tonight. I know you got some stuff to handle on the other side. I'll rock solo for a couple segments, and you'll pop back in here at the towards the bottom of the hour, right?
I will be back here right before we talk to Ashley. That's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, well, we're going to talk about the transfer portal coming up next. How many players did Carolina lose in reference to the rest of the SEC? That's up next on the Extra Point here on The Game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it.
Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
If you are a small business owner, a church, or other entity in need of a new HVAC system, AAA Heating and Air has exciting news for you. AAA Heating and Air now offers financing to qualified organizations to aid them in installing a new light commercial HVAC system. It's as easy as calling AAA Heating and Air for a quote or finding them online at callAAAtoday.com. Tell them Jack from 107.5 The Game sent you. At AAA Heating and Air, they've got your back. They're offering up to 12-month payment plans on repairs with no credit check. That's right. No need to worry about your credit score. As long as you're a homeowner with a valid bank account, you'll be good to go. Take control of your comfort today by giving a call to AAA Heating and Air at 803-677-1500. Again, the number to call AAA Heating and Air is 803-677-1500. Give them a call today and breathe easy again.
You want the vibe of a drink, that warm, smooth little kick, but you also want to wake up tomorrow as a functioning adult. That's where RK comes in. ARKAY, Zero Proof. It's the world's first zero proof spirits brand. They've created the warm molecule. So it's a patented way to give you that familiar warmth and dopamine-driven feel-good moment you expect from a drink without a single drop of alcohol. For 14 years, they perfected more than 28 alcohol-free spirits. All 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 regrets. No hangovers, no bad decisions. It's the perfect time to enjoy the same flavors and traditions while staying true to what matters most, feeling good and living a full life. Whether you're hosting, toasting, or cheering on your favorite team, RK Zero Proof lets you celebrate without compromise. Join the revolution at rkzeroproof.com, rkzeroproof.com.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com.
Yo, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire Automotive.
Dad, why do the other tire places in town not like us?
They are just jelly about our lit prices.
Like the top 17-inch size for your Mommobile, $500 for a set of 4 out the door.
Or the top 20-inch truck size for $720 total, no cap.
You can even buy tires online at PopeDavisTire.com.
Why is my line just 6'7"?
6'7".
I don't get it.
PopeDavisTire.com.
Even the best players need a strong team behind them. Atkins Law is always there for you, whether you're hurt on the job or in a motor vehicle accident. Who you hire matters.
You focus on recovery, and we'll handle the rest. As proud Gamecock alumni, we understand what it means to have a good support system on and off the court.
So when life takes an unexpected turn, trust the team that fights for you.
Call us at 803-251-6406 or visit hollyatkins.law.com.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save you money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
The Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Tuesday on the Game. Again, Jack handling some Gamecock Central business for the next couple segments, so I'll be flying solo for a few minutes here, get into a couple different things. Tomorrow morning, by the way, at 11 o'clock, Coach Beamer going to be speaking to the media, and as always, we'll have that for you right here on 107.5 The Game while he is talking. This was supposed to happen yesterday, but of course, with the winter weather coming in and everything, school was closed yesterday, so they bumped that up to tomorrow. But in which it's funny because tomorrow is technically National Signing Day, right? Like I know you've probably forgotten. It's probably not something you've thought about in a while because we did the whole thing in December as we've been doing for several years now. But yes, technically tomorrow is the artist formerly known as National Signing Day, and it's crazy for so many years growing up. Like this was the event, right? And it almost worked perfectly with the way the calendar was in college football at the time, pre-NIL, pre-portal, and all that kind of stuff, where you had December with all your bowls. The national championship was usually, January 5th or 6th, somewhere around there on that Monday night. And then college football season was done. You had a quiet couple of weeks while the NFL playoffs were going on and all that kind of stuff. And then, boom, typically the Wednesday before the Super Bowl, you had National Signing Day. And it was this big event. And an ESPN, you would have like 12 hours of coverage all day long, and you were getting commitments left and right and reporting live from campuses and looking over classes and all that kind of stuff. And we just kind of lost that, right? And I know we look at everything through nostalgic lenses where if it happened years ago, it's automatically better. But, man, like the charm of signing day is really something that I feel like we've lost now because now the early signing day is in the midst of chaos of everything else going on in the month of December, getting ready for bowls, getting ready for the playoff, the portal getting ready to open, and it just doesn't quite have that funness to it that maybe it used to have, and where we kind of dedicated an entire day to what National Signing Day used to be. But again, we'll hear from Beamer tomorrow, mainly talking about all the transfer portal ads for South Carolina with the portal closing a couple weeks back and seemingly most of their work being done. I think there's a possibility of maybe awarding some scholarships to some what were former walk-on type guys and stuff like that. But most of the roster filling out, it seems to be done by South Carolina at this point. But of course, when it comes to the portal, the door swings both ways. So you can bring a lot of guys in, but you're also going to lose a lot of guys too. And South Carolina lost about 20 guys in the portal this past cycle. And Pete Nakos of On3 put out an article yesterday about just how many players each Power 4 program lost over the course of this cycle. And South Carolina at 20 actually comes in towards the bottom in total players lost. Fourth fewest lost out of any teams in the SEC. The only teams in the SEC that lost fewer players than South Carolina did were Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and Georgia. So Carolina in pretty good company there. Now, again, it's not, and by the way, the average in the SEC was losing about 25 players via the transfer portal. So South Carolina did come in after that. And again, who you lose in the portal is the most important thing, right? Because if you lose a bunch of high contributors, it doesn't matter if you only lose 5 players. If all those guys were significant contributors on your team, that's a pretty sizable loss as opposed to if you lose 25 guys and none of them really played a whole lot. Then you say, okay, well, that's just more of a depth thing than anything else. And this year's, and this is where we've given Beamer a lot of credit, going back to like last year in the portal cycle, right? Where we said, wow, you didn't really lose anybody of super high value as far as on-field contributions in the portal. That's a good thing. Now, again, your portal ads didn't necessarily hit the way that you wanted them to compared to the prior year, but you didn't lose a lot in the portal the prior offseason. And it's from a production standpoint, you lost a lot more this year, but I feel like most, if not all of that, was supplemented by what you brought in, right? So when you look at South Carolina's portal losses, you, of course, had just almost all the offensive linemen. And remember, Josiah Thompson was in the portal for a brief period of time before he decided to come back. But most everybody else, with the exception of Shed Surratt and Nolan Hay, that started for you on your offensive line, is gone. The Tree, Tro, Nick Sharp, Jatavius Shivers, Boaz Stanley, RJ Newsome, all these guys have gone. And I believe pretty much have all ended up elsewhere at this point. But when you look at what Carolina brought in the portal, you would say, okay, I think you've replaced that production, if not gotten better, and we hope they've gotten better, right? That's the idea, is that you've kind of washed out all the guys that were problems last year for the most part and brought in guys with equal or more experience that just fit better what you're trying to do. And that's the hope. And we're obviously going to have to wait, another 8 months or so before seeing that obviously come to fruition. But there's the belief that you've gotten significantly better in all those categories. You look at receiver, you obviously lost Rendrivius Jacobs, who was an important part of the pass game this past year. Brian Rowe, who was a promising guy coming in as a freshman that went out there and did some good things for you. But again, when you look at what you added in the portal from the wide receiver spot, I think you feel like you have, for the most part, supplemented that production with a guy like Nitro Tuggle coming in that had 500 some odd yards, a handful of touchdowns, a season ago. There at Purdue, DJ Black coming in with some decent numbers at UCF. So you kind of replace what you lost in that regard, where you don't really look at it and say, oh man, what are we going to do without Rendrivius Jacobs? What are we going to do without Brian Rowe? You feel mostly okay with what you've got as the replacement for that. Now again, we got to see it come to fruition, right? Because we were plenty excited about a lot of the guys they brought into the transfer portal a year ago, because when you have somebody announce they're coming to Carolina, we immediately go look at the Pro Football Focus numbers and their stats and all this kind of stuff, and we in our minds create the narrative of, okay, here's how this guy can plug in and play for this team and be a contributor and be better in this regard and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, mostly on this team last year, it didn't end up working. Now, yeah, you had some bright spots. Braden Cisse, who's could go on to be a first-round draft pick coming up here in a couple months, played a really good role in the secondary. I think you look at a guy like Justin Okoronkwo there in the middle of your defense that played a good role. Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy did a really good job in the middle of your defensive line, but your offensive line adds didn't really do a whole lot. Russell Faison didn't really do a whole lot there. So it was kind of a mix of guys, and that's what's going to happen, right, with the portal. Is not every single person that you bring in is going to go out there and set the world on fire. Not every single person you bring in is even going to play all that much, right? And especially when you look at the high number of bodies that Carolina brought in the portal. The the total number ended up being, when they were done, of 25. So you lost 20, you brought in 25. Not all these guys are going to play, especially the amount of offensive linemen that you brought in. Like, there's some guys that are just purely going to be depth pieces, and that's okay, especially for a team like Carolina that's been bitten by the injury bug a lot over the years. You want to make sure you have those guys in place should you need them, obviously. But for the ones that do play, you hope that mostly across the board, like it was in 2024, again, we look at the success of that team and point directly to impact transfers being among the biggest difference. Torricelli Simpkins on the offensive line. Of course, you got Kennard at edge. You had Demetrius Knight at linebacker. Like, those guys came in and were among the best players on the team. And that kind of seems to be where the success is in the Beamer era, is when you have transfer portal guys that come in and hit. Spencer Rattler, when he came in, particularly for the 2022 season, what he was able to do towards the end of that year. I know, as controversial as he is, Juice Wells was a really significant contributor at wide receiver, particularly in that season where Carolina was able to win 8 games and go to the Gator Bowl, right? So your hope is that what you've brought in this portal class can act the same way, and we'll obviously see. Interesting looking around again on this article from Pete Nakos of On3 of who some of the biggest losers in the portal were. Mainly, when you look at the top 10, you got a lot of teams that are replacing head coaches. Oklahoma State lost the most at 64. Iowa State, Matt Campbell, obviously taking the job that James Franklin was fired for at Penn State. second with 54. Penn State at 46 as they made the change from Franklin over to Matt Campbell. But there are 3 teams inside the top 10 that don't have new head coaches, those being West Virginia at number 4 with 44 losses in the transfer portal, Mississippi State at 38 at 5th with 38 transfer portal losses, and then Florida State at number 8 with 36 transfer portal losses. And I think you can look at Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia and Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State as really still turning the roster over and kind of figuring out what you need. Mississippi State took a bigger step forward this past year. Rich Rod going back and now his second year at West Virginia trying to fill the roster out. So that's more of still, it's not panic time in either one of those places. For Florida State, it is. Florida State has zero room for error at this point. This is a make or break year for Mike Norvell. 2 seasons ago was an embarrassment. Last year didn't get any better, barely any better. Like, he's having to go out in the portal and find the answers, or else he's going to be looking for a job. And we're going to be talking about Florida State being one of the biggest, hero to zero falls we've seen in college football in a very long time. From a team that should have been in the playoff 2 years ago to one that's been completely irrelevant the past 2 years. Pretty fascinating. And again, a lot of portal losses, and we'll see what they replace with them and how those guys fare when the season does roll around. We'll jump back in the Super Bowl coming up next. Do you hate anybody that's competing in this? Is there a side that you can really, really root against? We'll discuss that on the other side. It is The Extra Point. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri. We'll be back along in just a little bit here on your Tuesday on the Game.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
All my sports! The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
You never know when a moment might become a memory. With same-day glasses at iMart Express and 2 pairs of single vision starting at under $40. Or 2 pairs of progressives for under $80. We're here to make sure you're ready anytime they do. From the most mundane Monday mornings to the most surprising Saturday nights. Get everyday savings for every moment. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
Bill Gunner for Old Tommy Meat Market. What better way to spend a great night with your family than with some great cuts of meat from Old Tommy Meat Market? You can grill out, whether it's your family, your friends. Old Tommy Meat Market has plenty of Traeger grills in stock. Plenty of pellets, rubs, sauces, and accessories too. Come on by Old Tommy Meat Market in Lexington today to take a good look at the many sizes of Traeger grills. Old Tommy Meat Market and Traeger grills, a perfect combination.
Old Tommy Meat Market. Quality selection, a cut above the rest.
Flowers and chocolates are okay, but an insanely clean home from Zero Res Carpet Cleaning is sure to impress your loved one. Only Zero Res uses zero water technology to clean your carpets and other surfaces without harsh chemicals. To make things sweeter, they leave zero residue, so your carpets stay cleaner longer. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 107.5 The Game, or book online at ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res. All they leave is clean.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Yo, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire Automotive.
Dad, why do the other tire places in town not like us?
They are just jelly about our lit prices.
Like the top 17-inch size for your mom mobile, $500 for a set of 4 out the door.
or the top 20-inch truck size for $720 total, no cap.
You can even buy tires online at PopeDavisTire.com.
Why is my line just 6'7"?
6'7".
I don't get it.
PopeDavisTire.com.
Hey, this is Paul Romenstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. Good news, we've opened a new location at 1612 North Lake Drive, right by the Lake Murray Dam. Come see us for decorative stone, gravel, mulch, pine straw, topsoil, you name it. Whether you're sprucing up the backyard or tackling a big project like a patio, a deck, or a retaining wall, we've got the materials and the know-how to help you. Stop by Monday through Saturday and let's make your yard the best on the block. MidlandsLandscapeandLawns.com.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Finding excuses to not do your taxes? Well, you can start today and file for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th and you'll pay $0. Start filing for free today. Offer only for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
The Extra Point.
And the kick is good!
With Tyler Head and Jack Feltry from Gamecock Central on the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Is this a must-win game?
A must-win? Yeah, I think every time we go out is a must-win game. I mean, it's kind of the attitude that I've always taken in the National Football League.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Feltry along with you here on your Tuesday on the Game. That was Mike Vrabel, head coach of the New England Patriots, being asked a bizarre question. I would think that everybody would think that the Super Bowl is a must-win game. That is one of the funny things, Jack, about like the week leading up to the Super Bowl and all the media stuff, because, my God, the coaches and players have to do media availabilities pretty much every single day. There's people from all over the world that are asking questions. I don't know, is Jameis Winston going to be walking around asking questions again this year? You get some really weird questions being asked. And,
totally.
Hey, is this a must-win game? Early contender for maybe one of the oddest.
I always die laughing at the question, Jameis. There's a clip of Jameis asking Chris Jones from the Chiefs last year what his favorite color is. And he's like talking like about like you've had like a Hall of Fame career and all this and stuff, but what the people really want to know is what's your favorite color, and that always gets a laugh out of me. But at the same time, yeah, there are a lot of silly kind of questions that are asked at this event, and is this a must-win game? Might be upon the, quite frankly, the silliest questions I've heard. I'm not sure how that guy got a credential for as big of an event as a Super Bowl when there's sure thousands of writers and reporters that would love to be there, but yeah, of course it's a must-win. Duh, like it's the Super Bowl.
Doesn't Vrabel come across as a guy that probably hates like media availability? And maybe it comes from being a former player, but like anytime I listen to Vrabel talk to the media, it just seems like he would rather be anywhere else but there. And I think a lot of coaches are like that, but Vrabel, it really comes across when he talks.
I would say, yeah, I don't know, honestly. I feel like I get that vibe sometimes when I hear him speak in media, but doesn't any coach want to be anywhere else besides media, right?
I mean, some coaches are good and they give thorough answers and stuff like that, but I just feel like Vrabel's like very, not prickly like Belichick was, but just like you can tell he doesn't enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, totally. And look, if it's the Boston, I don't know what the Boston media is like up there. I mean, Mike Yuva seems like a nice guy, and
yeah, imagine Yuva just asking you questions over and over again. That'd probably get tiring, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure if it's anything like the New York media or whatever, the northern media, it's probably a little bit more like asking tough questions and all this stuff. So I can't imagine there are a ton of bad questions like that one. Like there's that saying that there's no question's a bad question, but let's be honest, that was a pretty bad question.
So there'll be plenty more of those popping up in your Twitter feed as the week goes along. Again, this is a rematch from the Super Bowl 40.
Let's see, we're on
49.
Yeah,
49.
49, because it was the year before 50.
Right. So the 2014 season, of course, the famous Malcolm Butler play, so they've handed off to Marshawn and all that kind of stuff. But despite the fact that these two teams played each other 11 years ago, this still feels like a very fresh matchup because quite literally there's nobody from either one of those teams still on either one of these rosters. So you have a fresh makeup that way, obviously different head coaches, and I feel like the sentiment of the country with both these teams is vastly different. The Patriots, they'd not won a Super Bowl in several years at that point, but they were still looked at as the dynasty of the NFL. And the Seahawks at that time were in the midst of the Legion of Boom and were hated by a lot of people because of that. And it's just both teams are kind of a complete 180 from what they were at that point in time.
I would say the Seahawks are probably the more, like, if America's voting on which team's going to win, I'd probably say people are leaning with the Seahawks, not just because they think that the Seahawks are going to win, but I think there's a lot of folks, including myself, that still dislike the Patriots.
Well, you have a personal reason.
Yes, but I feel like you get the AFC East, you get like Miami, Buffalo, and New Jersey. Like those three areas definitely don't like the Patriots. But I feel like there's a lot of people like, even though the coach and the players are not the same, it's also still the same owner with Robert Kraft. By the way,
who did not get into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I texted you that this morning to see if we could try to plug it into the show. So here we go. Yeah, Robert Kraft not getting into the Hall of Fame is just absolutely it's laughable. I don't know what is up. Again, I don't like the Patriots, but what is up with the two legendary parts of that Patriots dynasty just not getting into the Hall of Fame? I truly don't get it. So that'll be interesting.
I'm not as bothered by Robert Kraft not getting in as I am Belichick.
I don't like Kraft, but
I think we do assign too much praise to owners sometimes.
But he's the owner of a franchise.
He is.
That has won multiple Super Bowls. What criteria is he not meeting other than not being a good Boy Scout to get into the Hall of Fame? I don't get it.
Maybe some of his off-the-field antics came into play, too.
Yeah, I guess he technically is part of Deflategate and Spygate.
Well, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the other stuff.
Oh, the other stuff. Well, that's...
You can dive down that rabbit hole in your free time. But getting back to the point here, because you remember... for the years when the Patriots were in the midst of their dynasty, you'd always see that graphic of like, hey, here's who the country's rooting for. And you'd see a little like red area in like Massachusetts, and the rest of the country is rooting for whoever they're playing. I remember that with the Falcons. Like when the Falcons played them in Super Bowl 51, it's like, man, America's rooting for Atlanta to dethrone the Patriots. Like, how cool is that? And now it's like, again, I think, you might say more people are probably rooting for the Seahawks, but I feel like if the Patriots won, it's not going to be this, here we go again type of thing. And maybe it's because Kansas City had kind of taken the reins as the dynasty in the past couple years, and we're finally seeing a different team from the AFC get their shot, like the Bengals were a handful of years ago. I think everybody's just looking at this as like a palate cleanser almost.
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit different now than it was back then, just because it's not Belichick anymore. It's not Brady. I think Drake May is very likable, very seemingly nice guy, good player, obviously, someone that could potentially be the future face of the NFL. We'll see if he wins the MVP later this week. But, yeah, it's a different type of Patriots team, I think, is the main thing here. Like, yes, it's still the big brand name, and that might be enough to rub people the wrong way to not pick them this weekend. But I think this is a much different type of team than what we saw in years past.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. Like, again, I said this yesterday. This could be a low-scoring defensive grinder because both these teams very capable on defense. This could also be a high-scoring shootout like we saw with the Seahawks and the Rams in that Thursday night game a couple months back. Like, I could see it taking on either identity. I kind of hope for something in the middle of like a 2017 type game. Like, that's my ideal score for any football game. If you give me 2017, I get a little bit of everything, defense and offense. And I feel like this is a game capable of delivering on something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun game. I hope it is. Look, that 2014 Super Bowl 49 was insanely good. and the Patriots have played some great Super Bowls. It's hard to expect it to be that level of good. And hopefully if Seattle does get down to the goal line and they have a chance to win it, hopefully they are running the football with Kenneth Walker or Charbonnet or whoever it might be and not throwing it.
I think in Charbonnet out still?
Yeah, which is why I mentioned Walker first. But, I think with this game, it's going to definitely be one that I would hope is tight-knit going down to the wire. We don't need any Super Bowls that are just blowouts. Or the last thing we need, though, talk about blowouts, the last thing we need is what happened when the Patriots played in the last Super Bowl second last Super Bowl before COVID against the Rams. That one was, that was boring.
Yeah, that was the Atlanta Super Bowl, 13-3. Yeah, I honestly, besides Sony Michel scoring the one touchdown in the game, I remember almost nothing else from that game.
Like, Gronk had a really nice catch, I think, but that was it. Like, I don't remember anything from that game.
Yeah, very dull Super Bowl. Hopefully, we get something a lot better than that coming up on Sunday. We'll continue to preview the Super Bowl as the week goes along. But up next, tonight is the Pro Bowl. How well does Jack Veltri know the Pro Bowl rosters? Don't look it up.
I'm not.
Test your trivia coming up next. It is the Extra Point, Tyler Head and Jack Veltri with you here on your Tuesday on The Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Call it an understatement. Justin Jefferson says the Vikings likely would have been better if Sam Darnold stayed. Sam Darnold, the guy who's starting in the Super Bowl, probably would have been better. The Vikings opted with J.J. McCarthy, and it cost their GM his job. The future in Minnesota is a question mark. I'm Drake Toll.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you can put your sports IQ to work on the games you know best. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. Buy or sell your predictions all game long. Trade every play with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Woohoo! Hear that? That's what having fewer hot flashes and night sweats can sound like. Veoza is the #1 prescribed hormone-free treatment FDA approved for moderate to severe vasomotor symptoms, also known as hot flashes and night sweats, due to menopause. Veoza can cause serious side effects, including liver problems. Your doctor will do blood tests before and during treatment. Stop Veoza and call your doctor if you have symptoms of liver problems, such as feeling more tired than usual, decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, itching, yellowing of the eyes or skin, pale stool, dark urine, or stomach pain. Don't use Veoza if you have cirrhosis, severe kidney problems, kidney failure, or take CYP1A2 inhibitors. Ask your doctor about Veoza. To learn more, call 1-866-239-1637 or go to Veoza.com. That's VEOZAH.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you care for them, because love lives here.
Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri along with you here on your Tuesday on the Game. Again, Ashley Chastain-Woodard, head softball coach for South Carolina, coming up at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock as she gives us her final preview before year number 2 under her begins on Thursday as the softball team takes on Virginia Tech here in Columbia. Tonight, though, it is the Pro Bowl games. 8 o'clock, ESPN, Disney XD, ABC, pretty much every channel that Disney owns, the Pro Bowl will be on it some kind of way. I'm assuming the skills challenge is before, and the flag football games, like the main event, I don't know.
Yeah, flag football is at 8 p.m., I think it is.
Okay.
So everything else should be before. So,
well, if you're, I guess if you want to change the channel for men's basketball, if things get out of hand tonight, you have the option of watching the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting, right? I mean, the flag football, that'll be, I can't say that I've really watched the Pro Bowl since it's gone away from tackle.
I've not watched the flag football game. I've watched some of the skills stuff.
Yeah, I've seen
that.
Yeah,
some of that is fun. I like the drill they do with punt returns where you have to hold on to every ball you catch. So you'll have a guy that's like ended up holding on to 6 footballs trying to catch 7. Like, that's kind of neat. But like the flag football game itself, that doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't move the needle for me.
Again, we're getting ready for the 2028 Olympics. We got to see who are the stars of flag football. So
I guess. Well, there was the pushback on that because there is legitimate, professional flag football in America, and those people are like, hey, wait a minute, don't think Patrick Mahomes is just going to walk in here and become the quarterback for Team USA. I don't know how that's going to work out.
Honestly, instead of this whole flag football Pro Bowl game type thing, they should do an NFL-based flag football team versus these other real full-time flag footballers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, play for the right? That'd make
neat.
A lot of sense.
That'd be neat, like a play-in game to go represent the United States.
And by the way, if you get whoever gets the TV rights for that, gonna make $1 gazillion because we'll watch
NBC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like to play in to have the right to be a part of the Olympic team. If ESPN's like, hey, the flag football play-in games or whatever, we'd watch that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd tune in. That'd be sick.
So we've kind of briefly gone over some of the controversies around the Pro Bowl rosters over the past couple weeks. Let's see how well you know who's going to be participating in the Pro Bowl tonight.
All right, let's do it.
Then there are 3 quarterbacks for each side. Starting with the AFC, can you tell me who the 3 Pro Bowl quarterbacks for the AFC are?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not Justin Fields, even though I saw Ian Rappaport reported yesterday that Fields received an invite to the Pro Bowl, but he declined, which just tells you how bad this is.
Shows where we're at, that Justin Fields is declining Pro Bowl invites.
I do know 2 of them.
Okay.
Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders. The third one, it's not Drake May. It's not Josh Allen.
No, who were invited. Of course, Drake May's not going to go, and Josh Allen's got his own recovery to worry about. Not that he would have gone anyway.
The third one I really couldn't tell you, but I'm going to guess. I'm going to say Justin Herbert. No?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
I believe Herbert got invited, but he declined as well.
Joe Burrow's going to go. Wow, he looked like he's enjoying his offseason doing everything else but football. So,
well,
got to take some time off after that offensive line blocking for you.
How about the NFC? Can you name the 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah. This is a little tougher. I'm going to guess, let's see, Stafford?
Invited, but declined.
Dang. How about like Geno Smith? I'm sure he I'm sure he got an invite.
If he did, I'm not aware of it, and he would have declined because he is not going to be there tonight.
Let's see. Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is one. He is also an alternate.
Okay. Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott was an original invite. So he, out of the 6 quarterbacks, is the only one that was an original invite.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, also an alternate.
Jeez. Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. So that's 2?
Yeah, well, you got 3.
I got 3.
Dak Prescott.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, of the 6 quarterbacks tonight, only one of them was a true original Pro Bowl invite.
Okay,
cool. Which I think speaks volumes to kind of where this game is at as of right now. Let's see here. That's really the spot that mainly has a lot of alternates, the quarterback spot, because most of the other position groups for the most part are guys that were legitimately invited to be there. So, and again, quarterbacks make a gazillion dollars. You do get paid to go to the Pro Bowl. There is actual a check you get for being a part of it that I guess when you're one of the highest earning players in the league, which Dak Prescott's up there, I guess, whatever that check is doesn't mean much to you.
Yeah. It'll be cool, though, to see Flacco. Now, I'm assuming I've not really the Flacco news kind of went under my nose a little bit compared to Shador, but I'm assuming that means Flacco's probably retiring, right?
I guess. Again, what is he, 42, 43 now?
Right off into the sunset playing in the Pro Bowl games.
Yeah, why not?
He's 41. He just turned 41 last month.
I mean, if he wants to come back for another season, he could.
He would definitely be a better backup than some of these other guys in the NFL. So,
by the way, I believe Keyshawn Nixon is the only Gamecock.
Yes,
only represented.
Only Gamecock.
So if you need a reason to tune in, there's that.
Yes.
That'll do it for hour number 1 of the Extra Point. Again, hour number 2. Going to talk to Ashley Chastain Woodard right off the jump here on your Tuesday on the Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code COIN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code COIN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code COIN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Spring cleaning is creeping up, so get a head start by calling Zerorez Air Duct Cleaning. You'd be surprised by the amount of dust, dander, and allergens just sitting in your duct system and circulating in your home. Zerorez is the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 1075 The Game, or book online at ZerorezColumbia.com. That's 20% off all standard cleaning services. Zerorez. All they leave is clean.
Honey, look, the hookers. They've moved off the highway and now they're all over the parking lot.
What are all those Schroeder's towing trucks doing in that parking lot, though?
Must be towing all those unauthorized cars parked in the lot. Good thing the business owner called Schroeder's Towing to keep their parking lot clear for just their customers. Didn't those cars see the free signage that Schroeder's provides to business owners to deter unauthorized parking?
I guess not.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
It's a new year in Columbia, and if you own a business, you too can have the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
Rhino Shield's not pain, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business or residential, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday, so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer's limited, so call today at 833-RHINO-99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
Be the one who brings the fun with Carolina Game Lab. With our pinball and arcade rentals, you can be the one who brings the fun. Whether it's a corporate event, birthday party, wedding, graduation, or any special occasion, every event is more exciting with pinball and arcade games. Imagine your guests strolling down memory lane, reliving the joy that these classic games evoke. Our wide selection includes everything from timeless pinball machines to captivating arcade classics. Check us out at CarolinaGameLab.com. Carolina Game Lab. Be the one who brings the fun.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
The Garnet Trust Hour with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head. Sponsored by Krantz Heating and Cooling. On the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome in, 10 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. It is the Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Cooling Heating. Tyler Head, Wes Mitchell, and Jack Beltry along with you here. Working on getting Coach Chastain Woodard here on the phone to talk to her in just a second as, guys, we get excited for another softball season coming up here in a couple days.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cold on Thursday out there at Beckham Field. We were talking about earlier, Tyler, like the difference between the baseball temperatures next week and softball this week. The high is going to be 43, the low is going to be 33, so probably going to be needing to be bundled up out
I loved the replay assist in the NFL this year, where it was not we're throwing the flag, we're putting a sponsor up, we're like going to look at everything. It was, hey, replay assist said you got this wrong, go fix it. We're moving the ball back a yard. Boom. Yes, let's do that. How, and I know AI, I know technology is not foolproof, but the more we can do to speed up the process, the more we can do to put more cameras on the football or devices inside the football, however you have to do it to be like, this is where the ball is supposed to be. This is a first down. It's not a first down. I am all for that, but I am against more and more and more stoppages because they just ruin the flow of everything.
I'm with Wes on this. I really do like the improvement we've made from, look, I like the physical chain gang and the linesmen being there to spot the ball and whatnot, but let's be honest, it took forever. So we moved to this tennis type of system now where you have the ball being spotted with the camera and whatnot. So that sped it up a bit. I agree with Wes that there are way too many replays, but here's the thing. Replay is it's supposed to be used for these reasons of, like, you have a certain amount of challenges and officials will review calls inside 2 minutes up in the booth. Like, so it's not like that bad necessarily, but I do like the idea of potentially reviewing more things that are, subject to review that just haven't been reviewed in the past. But I think there needs to, I don't know how it would be done, but I think there needs to be something similar to what we have now with the ball being spotted rather quickly, like some sort of system in place as technology advances to try and get these reviews done probably quicker. I don't know exactly.
Well, and the good thing about, again, the list of penalties that would be a part of this, face mask, unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer, hip drop tackles, they're all pretty black and white, right? Like, okay, he either grabbed his face mask or he didn't. He either hit the quarterback late or he didn't. Like, things that aren't as much judgment calls. Like a couple years ago when they started reviewing pass interference, where that was able to be challenged and stuff. For one, I don't think the league really wanted to have that challenge. At least the officials didn't, so you never saw that overturned. But that's a judgment call. Like, that's something that is assessed in the moment, and we can spend 20 minutes looking at a potential situation of like, oh, was it pass interference? Was it holding? Like, those things I think would drag the game out. But these, where it's very much like he either did or didn't commit that penalty, makes this a lot more streamlined.
Yeah, I think especially the face mask thing. Like, how many times have you been watching a game where you see just the classic, a guy's running and you see the opponent's hand come up and then you see the helmet just like rip backwards. And on TV, you're going, that's clearly a face mask. How do you miss that? And I think we do forget, and it's a point Goodell made there, the game moves so fast, even with all those officials. It is possible, you're going to see that most times, but it is possible that your eyes just happen to be on some other aspect of the play, on the exact sort of few frames of life, basically, that face mask and just the helmet got turned. And so it's something that we can very easily see on the replay.
Yeah.
I think that would be something as easy as, like, if I think the mechanism would be, if you see that foul, so you have somebody in the booth, right? If you see that foul, they're already hitting the button, like, oh, there's a foul in this play. And so then if the referee saw it, they're going to throw the flag anyway, and then they don't even have to go up to assist. But if the flag doesn't come out, the referee is going to be like, oh, wait, they saw something. Like I don't even think you have to make it be a thing where you're going to wait to see, oh, is the flag out?
Sure.
What did they see? I think it's just like, oh, we see something, boom. Ultimately, guys, would the game not almost be better officiated from the sky in some instances anyway? Like what if is the next step that you just have an additional couple of referees sitting in the booth, and it's not even an assist thing. It's just literally like, oh, we got a foul from up top.
Well, and you got 10,000 cameras placed on the field anyways. There's not a blade of grass that goes unnoticed here. So you can look at it from different angles and see things that, again, in a fast-moving game where you only have so many people on the field, might get missed. So, yeah, I think you have a couple of dedicated people up in the booth to just keep that extra eye on things that can help with things that fall through the cracks. Because, again, nobody's perfect, right? They're going to miss things. Calls are going to, get overlooked and things like that. So this hopefully makes the game better if they go this route.
And look, it's a lot easier to see things from up in the booth compared to, that's why you see most coordinators sit up in the booth for coaching. But with the line, on the field, it's tough to see everything. And it's incredible how these refs do their job. And even though they miss a lot of calls, they do get a lot of the ones that we may not even see watching on TV get it right. So it's not. I'm fine with the human element of all of it, but definitely we got to move up.
We'll come back, wrap up the hour. Garnet Trust Hour here on The Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Sponsored by Robinhood. Your money, your move. Are we seeing the final days of Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks' marriage? The Bucks have submitted counteroffers to teams for the two-time MVP. After 12-plus years together, it seems as though the two are in agreement to part ways. Good for Giannis. I think this is bad for the Bucks. I'm Addie Bates.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I left the pizza box on top of my car before driving home. Not smart. Oh, and a semi just turned my deep dish into a thin crust.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Drivers who switch their home and auto with Progressive could save money and time. Other things try to do this, but they really don't. Like the touchscreen at fast food places. It's not like you save time because it takes you longer to use a touchscreen than, I don't know, someone who works there. And another thing, you'd think it would save money because they're not paying a cashier, right? But no, same price. Also, why is there an option to tip? Who am I tipping? Exactly. Anyway, even if you can't save money and time with some things, you could with a Progressive home and auto bundle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
The Garnet Trust Hour with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head. Sponsored by Krantz Heating and Cooling on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. It is the Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Tyler Head, Jack Felcher, Wes Mitchell wrapping up the hour here on your Tuesday on the Game. It's not uncommon to see things get a little spicy in post games, handshakes, those kind of things. And we've seen fair share of player fights and things along those lines. Not sure I've ever come across a coach getting let off in handcuffs, though. But that's what happened the other day when Tuskegee and Morehouse played in men's basketball. Tuskegee head coach Benji Taylor was upset after his team lost that apparently in the handshake line, there are a bunch of Morehouse football players that apparently got in the line or were yelling obscenities and things of that nature. And Coach Taylor trying to voice his frustration to the security police officer that was on scene there apparently was not met very well because the police officer led him off the court in handcuffs instead. Really weird situation. Can't say I've ever remember a coach being cuffed post-game before.
So I'm confused. So I watched the video there, and I'm reading the story we have linked here. So yelling obscenities, that, I'm sorry, I'm missing something that gets you arrested?
Well, it was the Morehouse football players apparently that were in the handshake line yelling obscenities at his team, which is why he was expressing his displeasure to the police officer, who I guess he wanted to get control of the situation.
Yeah.
Now, what he said to the officer, we don't know. We can't hear it, but I imagine
did he lay hands on the officer?
He did not lay hands on him. He was upset and probably had some choice words himself, but did not physically engage whatsoever. But you see the officer just kind of reach for the cuffs, and Coach Taylor's almost like laughing as he's being let off, like he can't believe this is happening. Very weird situation.
Yeah, it's not like I'm like watching the video, like see if like I'm missing something. I don't see anything that made me feel like, oh man, this guy's totally out of line. Like he needs to be cuffed. Like it sounded like he was just like trying to talk to the officer and get the whole situation figured out, and then the officer's just like, nope, you're going away, getting cuffed. So that's just quite frankly just kind of ridiculous.
Well, I know it's not that serious, but at the same time, people who were not in the basketball game being in the handshake line,
right? It's a valid complaint.
Like that is at the end of the day, that is actually like kind of a safety concern. I feel like, and it's kind of one of those things people may roll their eyes. They're football college kids, just enjoying the moment. But if you're like an administrator, you're like, I don't like this. This is potentially dangerous. You just don't want to set a precedent of people who aren't on the basketball team going through the line. Like that just has all types of, as we've just saw. I mean, luckily it didn't end up in a brawl, to be honest. Like how is someone who isn't actually on the team gonna get in there and cuss you out? Like that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, schools released a statement about it. They're working with, I believe, some civil rights attorneys kind of looking into this. So I'm sure there's a lot more stuff that's going to be coming out of it. And again, it didn't seem justifiable to
no charges will stick here.
Yeah.
I feel pretty comfortable saying. I'm not Saul Goodman or anything, but I don't think.
I think a lawsuit would be coming on, though, right? Because
something's going to happen.
Something's got to happen.
The situation doesn't seem to have warranted being escorted out in handcuffs.
Do either of you remember when Steve Spurrier got cuffed?
No,
I do not.
I did not.
He got
hear
cuffed.
This.
He got cuffed.
What happened?
So standing there, it's at the end of practice. This was back when you would just have a little scrum right after practice. Spurrier would come speak. He'd be hanging out. We're all sitting there waiting. All of a sudden, you see a couple officers go over there, and they put Spurrier in cuffs and talk to him. And we're all sitting there. We're going like, wait, what? People are like, start rolling. He speaks to the officers. They take him out of cuffs. He walks over there. This is just classic Spurrier. He goes, yep, officers wanted to talk to me about something. They said some guy that looked like me robbed a store down the road, so they detained me for a moment to ask me some questions, and then they let me go. That does not mean, I'm paraphrasing, that does not mean I was arrested. And he was proving a point.
Yeah.
Because Clowney had been, quote unquote, detained.
Oh, I see.
He got witness being put in cuffs.
Yeah.
And it was literally the same thing. It was that there had been a report of, somebody was robbing, somebody committed a crime.
Yeah.
And they cuffed Clowney. It wasn't him.
Right.
And then they let him go, but everybody starts, Clowney's getting arrested in 5 points.
Wow.
So that was Spurrier, the most unique man in college football history's way of showing I didn't commit a crime just because I got questioned by the police and then let go.
Hey, that's a good way to teach a lesson right there. Shout out the old ball coach on that one. I did not know that story. I now do. Thank you for that. That'll do it for the Garnet Trust Hour. Coming up next, Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs. Get back into women's basketball from last night. Up next during the game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com. Vista Roofing, your local CertainTeed Select Shingle Master. Looking for a roof that's built to last? Trust the certified experts at Vista Roofing for professional installation, top-tier materials, and peace of mind backed by industry-leading warranties. From repairs to full replacements, Vista Roofing delivers durable results and exceptional service. Call now or visit VistaRoofingINC.com to schedule your free estimate. Vista Roofing, raising the standard one shingle at a time.
If you've ever been to a Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, you know there's something different about the people who work there. They're the type of people who mail a wallet they found on the street back to the owner, who always share their fries, who say bless you when you sneeze, even if it's like 5 sneezes in a row, who get just as excited when something good happens to you as if it happened to them. You know what? Maybe you should just stop by sometime and see for yourself. Palmetto Citizens. Feel the love. Federally insured by NCUA.
This time of year, the weather can change dramatically. You need reliable heat to keep your family safe and comfortable. Trust the experts at On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air. They have trained technicians, not trained salespeople. As a locally owned and operated company, you can count on them to be there when you need them. Download the On-Call app for a convenient way to set up service. Visit OnCallSC.com or call 803-781-HELP.
On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Pick up the phone and we'll be right there. Call 781-HELP.
Spring is just around the corner, and it's time to give your yard the refresh it deserves. At Lucky's Pine Straw, they provide the finest pine straw and mulch to enhance your landscaping. Their premium, long-lasting product not only beautifies your garden, but also protects against weeds and moisture loss. Get ready for a vibrant and lush spring season with Lucky's Pine Straw and Mulch. Trust Lucky's Pine Straw for a stunning outdoor transformation. Call Lucky's now at 803-360-4850.
Enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. Throws it up. He throws it down. The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head and Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
It's 11 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. Welcome in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Head, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark along with you here. We'll get into more position previews as the transfer portal cycle has come to a close. We'll talk some women's basketball in this hour as well. But Chris, at the end of the last hour, Wes informed me of something I was not aware of, and that was the time that Steve Spurrier was detained by police to try and teach everybody a lesson. I don't know how this story never made it across for me to see it, but I'm very intrigued.
Have you gone back and reviewed the video of the incident?
I have not yet. I just learned about it in the last 5 minutes, so I've not gone back and watched it. But I don't. Okay. It's one of those things that, like, as Wes is explaining it, I can see it playing out exactly in a Spurrier type of way. Like, totally see him doing something like that. It
had all the elements of a Steve Spurrier, Spurrierism. He walks up, says something snarky about one of the media members, and then, gets arrested. I think it would be fun. There is a video. Search for it on YouTube, Tyler. Right. You can see it. We'll need to get your take on it. And another sign we're getting old. That was like 14 years ago. And you could see some media members in the background that are not on the beat anymore. It's just, it's like a vintage item now. But that was hilarious. I mean, how did y'all even bring that up?
So,
what was the context?
I brought up the story about the Tuskegee men's basketball coach being cuffed and taken off the court after the game with Morehouse the other day. And I was like, don't really see that. We see player fights and things like that happen in the post game, but I was like, I can't recall a coach ever being detained, arrested, whatever you want to call it, and I had no idea about the Spurrier thing. I was like, that's news to me, but again, very, very on brand for something Steve will do to, I think, really ultimately teach everybody a lesson because of the clowny thing. But I was like, yeah. That must be, to be out there and see that take place must have been a sight to behold.
There are so many hilarious things that we saw on the old proving grounds. Wes, you probably got some stories running through your head too. I mean, there were some hilarious ones.
I got one I'm not gonna tell, but
it's probably the exact one I'm thinking of. Yes.
Well, what's the PG version?
There's not.
There's not.
The one I don't want to tell is just because it's embarrassing for somebody. Like,
I know we're thinking of the same one. We'll tell you off air, Tyler. Maybe one day, and maybe if we can get the I don't know, if we can talk to the player in question at some point and be like, hey, man, do you mind if we kind of maybe we can have him on and talk about it? He'd probably laugh.
I don't
by the way, I'm watching the video right now.
So I'll tell, just so we don't leave people completely hanging.
Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite, one of my favorite ones was just, so if you were out there, the way a football practice is set up a lot of times, especially back then, like every sort of position group, when you're doing indie, which is individual drills, every spot kind of has their own area on the field. And for the most part, they'd be in that same area every day. And so if you were out there for an open practice, you actually had, and they probably should reverse this, to be honest, you had, I mean, quite literally, you were in reaching distance from the late, great Brad Lawing, who, I mean, Chris, you remember the high school Harrys, as he called them, which was freshmen who were not ready for the big time. And Brad Lawing was as old school as they come. And so if you were a freshman, it didn't matter if you were the best freshman in the history of football. You know, he was going to sort of tear you down to build you back up. And, man, some of the stuff that Brad would be saying, and you're just out there front row seat just listening to it. But high school Harry was kind of one of his favorite little digs for like JT Surratt and those guys.
Yeah, and you know, that was also back in the day where, you know, people could back up the truck. You got the kids out there, right? So you'd always, like, I feel like if it was me nowadays, like if I had kids back then and we were over there watching the D-line, I'd be getting a lot of, Daddy, what was that word? And I'd be, all right, so, you know, we're going to just disregard that. You know, it was really something else, man. It's just one of those things that's changed a lot. There was also, y'all, talking about the whole, like, arrest, 5 points thing. Remember when Will Muschamp was here, Wes? And you had the whole Sky Moore, Debo, like, 5 points thing. One of the players got roped into the situation. He literally wasn't even there. And Muschamp went off. Like, he was was he at media days? He was somewhere and was asked about it. And I just remember it was probably the best quote Muschamp ever gave. He was like talking about how the publication in question was like the National Enquirer, and people laughed. And he was like, I'm serious. Isn't that the one that's like aliens and stuff? I've always thought that was so funny. That was like one of the best moments. It was just absolutely hilarious.
I've reviewed the video now. And yes, that's about exactly how I thought that was going to go down. The briefest detainment maybe in the history of ever. Do we know who the officer was that did that?
No,
because immediately everybody starts interviewing him afterwards.
Somebody needs to FOI the body cam too, just for a different perspective. Put that up on YouTube.
Would that have been
body cams back then?
Would that have been Sheriff Lott back then, or no?
I don't think he was the one doing the detainment.
It wasn't. It wasn't him.
Okay.
I think it was like either the USC or the City of Columbia PD that did it. Yeah.
But hey, so even though it was quick, Tyler, can you not imagine you're standing there thinking you've just showed up for a regular run of the mill.
Right.
We're gonna hear Spurrier talk about the quarterbacks not throwing to the right receiver. You get that instead.
And what? So what year was that? 2012, 2011?
Yeah, 12, I think. It was 14 years ago.
How active were y'all on like Twitter at that point in time?
I think Twitter was already rolling pretty
well.
well.
It was rolling.
I don't think it obviously wasn't as big as it is now, because like now that clip is viral within like 5 minutes, right? Like a little bit harder to get that kind of stuff out to everybody back then. So maybe the word had to spread a little bit for a day or so before everybody knew about it. But yeah, if that happened tomorrow, if Beamer did the exact same thing, like, my God, this is on, every national show within 20 minutes.
Well, if it happened today, before there would even be time for them to take the cuffs off and everybody realized that it is a sham,
a teaching moment,
it would be Gamecock head coach arrested at the end of practice. Click here for video.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
There's probably already an AI story out there on Facebook somewhere with like some made up version, of something like that happen. I mean, there's so many crazy AI generated stories. They come up all the time. I know we talk about that a lot, but it's like, no, Aunt Sue, that did not happen.
Yeah, especially now with like the videos and stuff, they've gotten really convincing. Like I've seen plenty of things like, wow, that's crazy, only to find out later, oh, that was fake, that was AI. So be wary of everything. So yes, if you see a head coach being put in handcuffs now, always double and triple check to make sure it really happened.
Yeah, I feel like you would almost just not believe this one. You might be so tuned into this another Facebook AI story. No, Spurrier actually was cuffed. Like that part was true.
Well, and this is a completely different situation. Did y'all find the Sharon Moore thing hard to believe at first? Like a month or so ago? Like, no, there's no way this is actually happening, right?
Yeah, and until I just started seeing it everywhere. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. At first I thought it was like a Michigan State person, like just making it up. No.
Yeah.
100% real.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Crazy.
Yeah, that was insane situation. Fun topic to debate to start the show. Didn't know we were going to go down this route, but thank you for sharing that story, Wes.
You're welcome. I could tell from your face when I started talking about it that you had not heard that one at all. So always glad to let you learn a little bit more Steve Spurrier, head ball coach lore.
Well, when I think about like coaches being led off the field by police, the closest thing I could think of is, y'all remember when Georgia Tech beat Florida State in 2015 with the blocked field goal, and like Paul Johnson is not being cuffed, but he's being led off the field because fans were storming the field. But if you just looked at the clip of the video without context, you would think he was being like detained by police and he does the thing with his tongue. Like that's what I think of when I think of a coach being like escorted off the field by police or security or something.
I do remember that clip. That was a classic Paul Johnson.
Yeah, that was what I immediately thought of when the Tuskegee thing, but now I know this whole more lore about Steve Spurrier. One of a kind, man. One of a kind. We will get into some women's basketball on the other side, talk some position groups later on in the show as well. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs on your Tuesday here on The Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
The Game phone lines at 803-404-6100. Sponsored by AAA Heating and Air. Now offering 12-month payment plans on all HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. Online at callAAAtoday.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
All right, friends, we tell you about them every single day. Our friends at Integrated Media, 803-948-8327 or IntegratedMediaInc.com. Go ahead. I know you've been thinking about it. I know you've been dreaming about it. That man cave, that home theater system, that media room in your house that you've been envisioning. Maybe you've sketched it out. Maybe you've just got it in your head. Call them and tell them what you're thinking. They're going to bring it to a reality. For me, they've been at my house. They've been at Chris's house. For me, it was a little bit more, just logistics, a little bit more, not as fun, frankly. They came out and ran Ethernet to make sure that everything was great in my home office. But the next step for me, let them come out, hang a TV, surround sound, hide the wires, and go all in on turning that extra room into that man cave you've all dreamed of. Whatever it is out of those things we just talked about that you need, they're going to do it for you. IntegratedMediaInc.com today.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code COIN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code COIN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code COIN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Vista Roofing, your local CertainTeed Select Shingle Master. Looking for a roof that's built to last? Trust the certified experts at Vista Roofing for professional installation, top-tier materials, and peace of mind backed by industry-leading warranties. From repairs to full replacements, Vista Roofing delivers durable results and exceptional service. Call now or visit VistaRoofingINC.com to schedule your free estimate. Vista Roofing, raising the standard one shingle at a time.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Hi, my name is John, and I'm self-employed, and we got sidetracked on our taxes at the 2008 recession, and it became a monster that we couldn't tackle ourselves. We heard about the Ecton Law Firm on the radio and contacted John. If you could classify someone as a miracle worker, I would put him at the top of the list because he took our problem and resolved it for us with our not only our unpaid taxes, but our unfiled tax returns from previous years. And I would highly recommend the Ecton Law Firm.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
I say, yeah. I mean, I feel like, in the beginning of the game, I just kind of want to see the floor, kind of fill it out, just fill my teammates out as well. Like, again, in the first half, they were all hitting, so just trying to get it to them as much as possible. Then once the game started getting close, a little bit more intense, I just tried to do all the little things I could do in order to win the game.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris with you on your Tuesday here on the game. That, the voice of Joyce Edwards last night after South Carolina picks up the 71-56 win on the road at Texas A&M, a game that was trickier than I think most of us thought it might be. It was a 4-point game at one point early on in the fourth quarter, but great teams always seem to find a way to pull out in the end, and typically that involves one of your best players just kind of taking the game over, and that's exactly what happened last night for South Carolina as Joyce Edwards scores 14 of South Carolina's 16 points there in the fourth quarter to help them pull away from the Aggies and pick up another win, obviously down a couple starters with Latson and Agot McKeer. So a little bit another shift in the lineup there that maybe gave South Carolina some issues early in that game. But again, when the chips were really down, we saw Joyce Edwards do what she does and go out there and look like one of the best players in all of women's basketball.
Yeah, guys, I think it is kind of easy to just, assume South Carolina's going to win these games, especially against opponents that they, are quote-unquote supposed to beat. And, easy to forget, hey, you're going on the road. This is an SEC opponent, and you're down to what has really become two starters, and certainly one starter all year long, one starter the last couple of games before she got hurt, but certainly two of your key players and Tyler at the same position. So it's not like you're kind of saying, well, we're going to eat into the depth a little bit at guard and then a little bit in the post, and we're a good enough team to just absorb that and feel nothing at all. I do think this is a team right now that really needs to get those two back sooner rather than later. I think the depth has been tested a little bit, and you have, this is a point Chris Wellbaum made on his reaction on Gamecock Central. You just are going to have some rotations where girls who aren't necessarily as used to playing together and used to playing with that exact five are on the court together. And so you're going to have sort of a lack of familiarity. You're going to have some learning experiences right now, even though you're right in the middle of SEC play and are starting to get kind of to your final push. So certainly we'll want to have those two back. And I just think, though, you have to credit the best player on the floor sort of just having that extra gear. Like being able to say, look, I'm going to play within the flow of the game. I'm going to get my teammates involved. You had Tessa Johnson was hot early on, and then just saying, all right, it's time to go win this thing at the end. I'm going to take over. Wellbaum compared it to, obviously, not quite the same stakes, but Aaliyah Boston, maybe one of her best moments as a Gamecock, scored all 13 of South Carolina's points against, this would have been 2022 in the Sweet 16 against UNC. She finished with 28 points and 22 boards that day. One of the best performances in South Carolina history. But for Joyce Edwards, certainly one of the best individual performances we've seen for Carolina in a while. And I feel like we're seeing her sort of just progress from being really good player to like great to like potentially elite player right before our eyes.
Yeah, and you never see, one of the things you've never said about a Dawn Staley team in the last, gosh, I don't know how many, 10 years maybe. You never say, oh, they're a little short on the rotation, right? Because they typically can just come at you in waves. They'll put out a second group that's good enough to play, not only play with, but a lot of times beat a lot of the teams that they're playing against. But they are legitimately a little shorthanded right now. And part of that is just, look, you already don't have Chloe Kitts. You already don't have, Ashlyn Watkins, who was going to be a huge part of this team's plan for this season. You don't have her sitting out this year. Kitts is injured. And now you've got a couple players that have factored in very prominently for you this year, especially Latson. And Latson being someone who can trigger the offense, get her own shot if the shot clock's winding down, and handle the ball, right? So to your point, Wes, you've got some lineups that at times aren't as comfortable with playing together. You've got some first-year players stepping up. You've got, it's clear that the staff wants to get Turnaby's more acclimated and get her more and more involved. And frankly, with where they're at right now, we'll see how long Watson and McKee are out for. They're going to need, more from her. There were some things that were concerning in the game in spells at times. Defensively, I know Dawn Staley lamented the second chance points. Some of the shot, the decisions, the shots that South Carolina took on offense, the second chance points for A&M. This is still a South Carolina team that is good enough to win and win at the end of the day fairly comfortably against an SEC basketball team, because that's just how good they are. At the same time, is it very important that they get McKeer and Latson back as soon as possible? Yeah, I think so. And Wellbaum even pointed out in one of his wrap-up pieces, like, South Carolina could find themselves in some trouble if they continue to be short in their rotation and if some of these issues that you've seen in the games have persisted. But the good news is they fought through it. They're good enough to win. They got some big individual performances. They made the plays that they needed to make to win.
Yeah, and there's several areas that concern with this team, and the injuries perhaps being the biggest one of those, because, again, it just haven't seemed like they've been fully healthy the entire year, and you still got another month of regular season basketball, the SEC tournament to go before you even get into the NCAA. So here's hoping they can stay healthy with that. I think you also saw last night the A&M defense running the zone kind of threw them for a loop. That's something else that causes concern, because there's a lot more talented teams you're going to run into that could use that as a blueprint for how to slow Carolina down. And when Tessa Johnson was making every single three early in the game, not really a problem, but as you started to cool off from on the arc, obviously your points became a little bit more of a premium there. So interested to see how they adapt and evolve from that. Again, you got a ton of tough games coming up. Tennessee, the road game against LSU coming up on Valentine's night. 5 of your last 6 are against ranked opponents. So it's going to be a little bit of gauntlet to wrap up the season here. And, I'm not saying this is the most flawed team we've seen in a couple of years, but it's definitely one that has areas that concern you as you get into the really important basketball coming up in the month of March.
Yeah, but I also think God willing, like that was not the team on the floor last night that's going to be the one that goes into the tournament as well. I mean, you do have someone in Latson who, when healthy, when she's going right, I mean, she can take over a game as well. And I think we've seen her really try to play within the system. We've seen her try to play team basketball, improve her defense, and all those things. But you're still talking about somebody who led the nation in scoring last year. So I'll be very curious to see what happens as they get deeper into the season, as they get into the postseason. What does this group actually look like on the floor, assuming they're all healthy? Now, if you continue to have these injuries to key players, then obviously, other teams are going to look at South Carolina and say, hey, they're a little bit more just maybe vulnerable is the word, compared to the last couple of seasons. I still think this is a team, this is a program that is going to make a run at this thing when all is said and done. Now can they beat UConn if it gets to that point? I think that's the big question at this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of seasons you go into a year and then the year kind of progresses and you learn more and more and you go, South Carolina's the program that everybody's chasing. I mean, to be fair, guys, you got to say UConn is that program, right? Because they're undefeated. They're the reigning national champions. And they can do things like, oh, hey, check this out. Tennessee, they're tied at halftime. UConn wins by, 30 in that game? I mean, just completely pulled away. They're loaded as usual. But, yeah, I mean, they were even discussing it during the broadcast last night for the South Carolina game and going, hey, is this team a 1 seed? And, who I honestly can't remember who was on the call, and it was just absolutely, so that's your goal, right? Go out there, get a 1 seed, be in position to be one of the best teams. And despite this team having some hiccups and having some, not being full strength for a decent part of the year, this is still one of the best basketball teams and programs in the country. You would just love to see what it could look like. As you said, Wes, can you get healthy? Because they just went through a stretch where this team is healthy. You didn't have to talk about injuries or, people, Maddie McDaniel not being available for a few games or somebody being sick. Like, there were a couple weeks where you didn't have to talk about that, but it's now back on the radar. So obviously you need to get healthy. You recruit and you have the depth that you have if you're Dawn Staley for a reason. It's been an asset for you in her building this program. It's the way that she wants to operate her team on the court. She wants to be able to mix and match lineups and throw a lot of depth at you. It's been a huge asset for them. So to not have that, it does tend to make you more vulnerable. It would be that way for anybody in the game. So you want to see what this thing would look like if they get everybody healthy for a sustained stretch down the stretch here.
Next game for them coming up Thursday is they play host to Mississippi State. 6:30 tip pregame coverage starting at 6 on our sister station, B106.7. Then they have, once again, the lead into the Super Bowl as they'll take on Tennessee coming up on Sunday, 3 o'clock tip. Pregame coverage starting here on 107.5 The Game at 2:30. We'll get back into our position groups. Coming up next, defensive line as we switch to the other side of the football. And the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs rolls along here on The Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Go to 1075thegame.com and check out this sweet deal. $50 to spend at Jay's Corner for only $12.50. Just click on Sweet Deals.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Start your spring cleaning early and get an insanely clean home with Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 1075 The Game, or book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Taking care of your car has never been easier. Hi, I'm Brandon at Wetzel's Automotive. We provide top-notch maintenance services from fluid checks to engine diagnostics, ensuring your vehicle stays reliable and efficient. Every service includes a complimentary 28-point inspection to give you peace of mind. Drive confidently knowing your car is in expert hands. Visit us at 2017 Augusta Road in West Columbia or online at wetzelsauto.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, and because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Currently car shopping? State Credit Union now has auto loan rates as low as 4.25% APR. Plus, you'll have no car payment for up to 90 days. Visit one of State Credit Union's 19 full-service branches or their website, SCSCU.com. That's SCSCU.com and apply online for your new car loan today. That's SCSCU.com. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Are you a small business owner, a church, or other entity in need of a new HVAC system? AAA Heating and Air has exciting news for you. AAA Heating and Air now offers financing to qualified organizations to aid them in installing a new light commercial HVAC system. It's as easy as calling 803-677-1500 for a quote or finding them online at callAAAtoday.com. Tell them Jay Phillips of 1075 sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 1075 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West Chris with you here on your Tuesday on The Game. Tomorrow in the 11 o'clock hour, Coach Beamer going to be speaking to the media right at the top of the show, kind of going over everything with the transfer portal and putting a bow on that on what tomorrow is actually National Signing Day for those that have forgotten about that, as we mentioned the other day. But he'll speak for his usual 20 or 30 minutes, and we'll come back on the back half of that and talk about whatever he has to discuss. But most of that's going to be around the transfer portal, and we've been talking these past couple days about position groups, just going room by room here and assessing where things stand as of right now. Again, our thoughts and opinions on these are going to change as we go through spring, summer, camp, all that kind of stuff leading in to obviously what's going to be a very important season for South Carolina. So we now settle on the defensive line room, not edge, just defensive tackle here. You get Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy back, who I can attest was outside of the big three, maybe the biggest get you could have returning, and he had a very good year last year when he was able to stay healthy. But you do lose some veterans in Markel Goodwine and obviously Nick Barrett, who was here at South Carolina for a long time. You return Troy Pikes and Devontae Miles, who we saw some good things out of. But I think the question on top of everyone's mind is, okay, how deep can you rotate in this room? Because that was one of the biggest things Carolina was able to do well in the 2024 season, was just having so much depth on defensive line and being able to keep guys fresh.
Yeah, I think you now feel pretty good about 4 guys rotating in there. And then, and that's even assuming like a Devontae Miles doesn't take another big kind of leap forward. That would, in my eyes, kind of be your 5th, as we sit here early February. But I think Troy Pikes showed you a lot down the stretch last year, really kind of started to come into his own. Like you mentioned, Brownlow-Dindy, I thought just quietly had an outstanding year last year. Does he take another step this year? I think there's still some upside there. Can he be a dominant force on the inside? Potentially. At the very least, you have now an experienced veteran who understands your defense. It's just kind of – some of these transfers we see, boys, are just like grown men. He I know I think he's married now. I know he was in the process of getting married when he got to South Carolina last year, and just is in a completely different place in life than like an 18-year-old true freshman, for example. And for some of these guys, it just shows. And I thought that was the case for Gabe. You bring in a couple of guys here that I think are going to help you right away, and then Chris, a little bit of a kind of, to me, the wild card of that group would be someone like Jordan Thomas. Like, I think you bring in a couple of guys who have played a bunch, but then with Jordan Thomas, he's someone incredibly highly recruited out of high school, 4-star guy. South Carolina wanted him out of high school. He goes to UGA, doesn't really play much there. I think he played in 5 games this past season, if I remember correctly, but is a high upside kid who has some eligibility left and is one of those where you're saying, hey, maybe he steps in and plays this year. If he doesn't, maybe you are sort of building that foundation for him to play a lot in the future, because you find yourself actually once again with a bunch of seniors for this group going into 2026.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Can Jordan Thomas be this season what Brownlow-Dindy was last year, right? Where it's a guy that you look back at his career, former highly rated guy, and you look at Brownlow-Dindy at Texas A&M and go, man, why did it not pop earlier in terms of the production? Well, he had some NFL guys in front of him. I think there were some injuries at times, still young in his career. But you look at him and go, man, the tools are there. And so will a change of scenery do him well in terms of unlocking that? And it absolutely did. And I think the good news there is he still has more potential to unlock as well at South Carolina in his final year. Can Jordan Thomas be a similar situation where we look back and go, okay, first of all, this is a massive kid. I mean, he's got size that you just can't teach. Can he come along and in year, 3 of college ball, had some guys in Georgia typically very deep up front along the defensive line, just hasn't quite had his turn yet? Can he be that guy for you this year? And multiple years of eligibility, as we know, portal is year to year. So maybe it's not the biggest impact that he's going to make in year 1, but it would certainly be substantial for this team if he could. I really have my eye on Tomey, our guy Tomey, coming over from Illinois. Honorable mention, defensive tackle, honorable mention, Big 12 selection, lots of experience, year 5 of college ball. Can Pikes take another step forward? Can you get something out of the guys that redshirted last season? You know, the staff was getting Caleb Williams ready to go, ready to play in kind of the middle of last year because he had missed some time with injury. They're getting him ready to play. Boom, broken leg in practice. Now that gets shut down, right? But Caleb Williams, Christian Ingram, and here's one more, guys. What's the split of how the staff plays Kelby Collins? You know, ranked as an edge out of high school. He's played edge and on the interior during his stops at Florida and Alabama. He's about a 275, 280 pounder, so he's not going to be that 300-pound guy in the middle, but he is someone that I think has the ability to play inside. Maybe it's on passing downs, maybe it's situational. Maybe you deploy him in some different ways, but he does have some twitch and some pass rush ability that I think Clayton White, Travian Robertson, Deion Barnes are going to be kind of game planning. How do we best use Kelby Collins up front?
We talked about this when Collins was added, out of the transfer portal, in addition to, with his brother, that it almost reminds you in a way of like a Tonka Hemingway who had the ability to do a little bit of both. Obviously, as he got later in his career, it was more of the interior stuff, but if he needed to move him to the outside, you certainly could. And again, you got a very seemingly talented edge room there, so it could be a situation of, well, you just need more help in the interior, so you move him there, or maybe he just ends up being one of your best edge guys and he stays out there anyway. But it is nice to have a kind of multi-tool there that you can kind of use at your disposal depending on where you need them at either one of those spots.
Yeah, and I think guys potentially, like, all right, so I know we'll get into edge a different day, but depending on what you're getting out of Caleb Herring, I think factors into that conversation. If Caleb Herring, like, we know he's going to help you in some way, assuming he's healthy, right? If he is much more along the lines of taking that step and you're going, wow, he's having a great senior year, he's doing everything needed, he is not only rushing the passer, but he's stopping the run, he is everything we hoped he would be, then maybe Kelby Collins skews a little bit more towards defensive tackle. If for Herring, it's not quite to that extent in terms of his progression, maybe it becomes, hey, on early downs, Kelby Collins, or against, depending on matchups, maybe you're facing a team that's a little bit more run-oriented, a little bit more, of kind of getting away from being spread offenses, a little bit more packed in. Maybe you say, hey, we want a little bit more size and strength out there at that edge position. You may say, let's run Kelby Collins out there on early downs and then put in a Caleb Herring or, even a George Wilson, who I think we all sort of pegged as being a pass rush specialist going into this past season before he got hurt. Maybe you're looking at him as, let's get a little bit more situational with some of these guys. And I think, you'd love to just have a every tool player, right? Like a Dylan Stewart who you can just roll out there and down, distance, matchup, none of it matters. You're just saying, put 6 on the field, we're happy. But if you are not at that point, I think someone like Collins does give you sort of that versatility to sort of mix and match based on all those things. And, man, Kelby has been a productive player. Like, this is not a Gabe Brownlow-Dindy situation with him. Has he been a starter yet? No. But you're talking about somebody who arrived at Florida as a true freshman, was in the rotation, and played quite a bit and was pretty productive. So you're talking about SEC tape already. Now he's now he's actually a senior, believe it or not. His career's flown by and is going to be looking to take that next step forward. Here's my question, guys. Which one of these dudes, and this is more rhetorical, but in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, when we're getting ready to go into the season, which guy out of this group do we start to hear, hey, that Kelby Collins, he looks like a man possessed. Oh, Tomiwa, he's ready to show he can do it at the SEC level. Glad we took Jordan Thomas. This guy looks like a stud. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I think you're kind of playing a numbers game there, that maybe we hear that about one of those guys, and then we're going, okay, that's probably who starts alongside Gabe, with the rest of them filling out the depth chart from there.
Yeah, be excited to see, again, one of many storylines going to be following over the course of this offseason. We'll come back, wrap up the hour, revisit our most hated men's basketball head coaches in the SEC from our conversation yesterday. Who are our top 5s? We'll discuss that coming up next to wrap up the show. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, here on The Game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. New England, we no longer have a problem. Drake May took the podium on Monday and said his shoulder is feeling good. I still like the Seahawks to beat the Patriots, but this feels like a brand new ball game. Are we going to see a healthy Drake May versus this killer Seattle's defense? I like it. I'm Maddie Bates.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. I love numbers. Like 100, as in 100%, as in TaxSlayer's 100% accuracy, guaranteed. And 0, as in $0, as in it costs $0 to file and get the refund you deserve with TaxSlayer Simply Free, if you qualify. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers with age, income, credit, and deduction restrictions. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility requirements. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Whether it's day or night, hot flashes due to menopause can be unpredictable. That's why there's Veoza, a prescription treatment proven to reduce the number and severity of hot flashes day and night that can start working in as early as 1 week. Based on clinical studies measuring efficacy at 4 and 12 weeks, individual results may vary. Talk to your healthcare provider about what this may mean for you. For moderate to severe vasomotor symptoms or hot flashes and night sweats due to menopause, Veoza can cause serious side effects, including liver problems. Your doctor will do blood tests before and during treatment. Stop Veoza and call your doctor if you have symptoms of liver problems, such as feeling more tired than usual, decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, itching, yellowing of the eyes or skin, pale stool, dark urine, or stomach pain. Don't use Veoza if you have cirrhosis, severe kidney problems, kidney failure, or take CYP1A2 inhibitors. Ask your doctor about Veoza. To learn more, call 1-866-239-1637 or go to Veoza.com. That's Veozah.com. Paid for by Stellus Pharma. Whether it's day or night, hot flashes due to menopause can be unpredictable. That's why there's Veoza, a prescription treatment proven to reduce the number and severity of hot flashes day and night that can start working in as early as 1 week. Based on clinical studies measuring efficacy at 4 and 12 weeks, individual results may vary. Talk to your healthcare provider about what this may mean for you. For moderate to severe vasomotor symptoms or hot flashes and night sweats due to menopause, Veoza can cause serious side effects, including liver problems. Your doctor will do blood tests before and during treatment. Stop Veoza and call your doctor if you have symptoms of liver problems, such as feeling more tired than usual, decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, itching, yellowing of the eyes or skin, pale stool, dark urine, or stomach pain. Don't use Veoza if you have cirrhosis, severe kidney problems, kidney failure, or take CYP1A2 inhibitors. Ask your doctor about Veoza. To learn more, call 1-866-239-1637 or go to Veoza.com. That's Veozah.com. Paid for by Stellus Pharma.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, Chris along with you here on your Tuesday, wrapping up the hour here on the Game. Again, men's basketball in action tonight as they take on Texas on the road. Pregame coverage starting at 6:30 for 7 o'clock tip, which you can listen to right here on 107.5 Game. At some point during the show yesterday, I forgot how we got on the topic, but Chris, you brought up who's the most hated coach in SEC men's basketball, and it really got me thinking to put together a top 5 list. Now, I said yesterday, I think Calipari is still a number one just from the long time at Kentucky and still being in the league at Arkansas and, you know, all the controversy and things over the years. My list goes like this, guys. I got Calipari. I got Nate Oates at number 2. I got Todd Golden at number 3. There's a significant drop-off. Like, those 3 are head and shoulders above everyone else. I have Stephen Pearl at 4 because of the nepotism thing. And then I got Mark Pope just because he's Kentucky's head coach. But to me, there's a very clear line in the sand between the top 3 and the bottom 2 in my top 5 list.
Okay. That makes sense. Let me do mine. I'm going to count down backwards.
Okay.
Mine is actually some similarities, some differences.
Okay.
Number 5, and this is a homer pick for the Gamecock fans, Sean Miller, just because he was in the mix for the job here. Kind of seems like he used it as a leverage play.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think people really have much against Sean Miller, but it's such a wide gap. There's not a lot of like this is an easy exercise for football, I feel like.
Sure.
You could be like, can I do more than 5? You know, like it would be easy. Basketball, not as much. Number 5 is Sean Miller. Number 4, Todd Golden.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with, like, I don't know anything about the allegation stuff. I can't even count that because I just don't know. But he's got a little bit of that, like, high on his own supply type of thing going on. All right. Todd Golden, number 4. John Calipari, number 3. I feel like Cal has actually, as he's aged and moved away from Kentucky, maybe a little bit more under the radar, but also maybe a little bit more likable. Maybe, like, not as big of a problem with Cal. So number 3 for me. Number 2 is Stephen Pearl. Same reason you said. I mean, not his fault, but he's just going to be associated with Bruce Pearl, his dad. That's number 1. The nepotism thing, right? So I feel like he's South Carolina, like, they just never seem to beat Auburn in basketball. Like, it happens every now and then. Number 1, Nate Oates. To me, easy pick. I said it yesterday. There's just not much there that you can be like, yeah, I really like that guy.
Okay, Wes, how about you?
I mean, I didn't really do my homework, boys, I'll be honest, but I think it's kind of hilarious that I don't disagree with Chris on Nate Oates, but I also feel like there's a little bit, Tyler, I don't know if you can hear it through the mic, a little bit of a personal vendetta there. Like, I don't know if Chris was at a game and Nate Oates looked at him wrong, or like, don't get me wrong, he's very unlikable.
Sure.
But don't you just sense a little bit of just personal hate here, Tyler?
I think a little bit. Yeah. Did he cut you off in traffic at some point in life or anything like that?
I don't know, Nate. It's just I'll tell you when it started. Like, went to the USC Bama game a couple years ago when Gigi Jackson was on the team. Carolina almost won, but Brandon Miller scored 97 points and ended up winning. And from the moment they walked out, you can just, like, Nate Oates just thinks he hung the moon, you know? Like, you can just tell, like, you're just, and then all the comments and the way he acts, like, it's just like, all right, this guy, you know? So I wouldn't say it's personal. I just think I have my reasons, and that's why he's number 1.
All right. I think Todd Golden, for me personally, though, just has one of those very punchable faces. Like,
the Eli Drinkwitz of men's basketball.
Yeah, so, I mean, if we're doing a personal, like, Todd may be my number. Like, I kind of appreciate the brashness, but he's one of those guys that you just are secretly hoping that the brashness will maybe catch up to them at some point, and they get brought back to earth. And then, you know, the off-the-court stuff, allegedly, whatever. You know, he's up there. Oates is definitely up there. I mean, guys, I feel like I think I'm on Chris's side here. I think Cal's edge has, like, he's almost hidden away a little bit at Arkansas. Like, it's kind of like, all right, you just don't have the brand to matter as much. So he's maybe taking a step back for me. How about none of us have mentioned Chris Beard yet at Ole Miss?
Like, I thought about him.
Yeah, definitely some off-field stuff, off-the-court stuff there.
Yeah, there's some alleged stuff there that's pretty ugly.
Yeah.
So he'd maybe be in my top 5. And I do like the addition of Sean Miller, just because, I mean, come on now, like, there's some lore here for South Carolina fans. So I'd have, like I said, I've had Chris Beard in there. Where would Bruce Pearl be if Bruce was still the head coach at Auburn? Like, I feel like his son is just kind of catching some strays a little bit because of his last name. It's not his fault they gave him the job.
Yeah,
That's right.
Easily top 3. Pearl's still around, easily top 3.
Pearl and Nate Oates, battle royale for number 1 for sure.
Do you think any fan base would put Lamont Paris in their top 5?
I can't see that.
Probably not.
Why? No.
I didn't think so. I think if there was like a crafted entire list, he's probably like 15th or 16th, right? Like there's
Rick Barnes is number 16 because I'm sure there's like Bama fans or something who are like, oh, I hate Rick Barnes. He's like the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Like nobody can hate on Rick Barnes, I don't think.
Yeah. I've not heard too many people say bad things about him, and he doesn't seem to be a bad person type of thing.
No.
Well, I mean, Tyler, even as upset as South Carolina fans are over the last season and a half plus, how many people say, almost preface what they're about to say about the on-court thing at South Carolina with, I mean, I do like Lamont Paris.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
He's a likable, he knows the game. That part's very obvious. It just has not obviously worked out to this point.
Yeah, and again, it's been a rough season. Back half starts tonight, taking on Texas. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll try and slide it in tomorrow because again, Beamer's going to take up most of the hour. But that'll do it for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs. Halftime show, myself and Bill Gunner up next on your Tuesday here in the game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
I'm Michael Jeffcoat. Way too often, insurance companies jerk good people around after a bad car wreck. Don't let them do that to you. Call Jeffcoat all hours, every day, 803-200-2000.
Responsible attorney Michael